In 1942, under Salazar's dictatorship in Portugal, a policeman named Jasmine informs Chief Inspector Vargas that 2 French citizens have been arrested for lacking visas. Intrigued by the beauty of Laura, one of the detainees, Vargas orders Jasmine to have their female officer search her. Inside the holding cell, Jasmine watches as Laura is frisked. Meanwhile, he pays a visit to Laura's brother, Boris, and learns that he's a refugee from France. Since the inspector can't understand French, he simply tells Boris to empty his pockets. Boris cooperates and reveals several items, including a pack of cigarettes. Making light of the situation, he jokes about the tobacco being meant for women. When the officer tries a puff and Boris laughs, Jasmine warns that his laughter will soon turn to tears. Back at the station, Vargas searches Laura's suitcase. Inside, he finds a lighter, lipstick, and compact powder. Out of idle curiosity, he opens the compact and smears the vivid red lipstick on his skin. While Melina conducts the body search, nothing suspicious is found. Vargas soon steps in and tells her to stop. In the next room, Boris explains his items, claiming one contains insulin for his diabetes. Still suspicious, Jasmine confiscates his belongings, convinced that Boris might be using illegal drugs. Laura is then summoned to Vargas's office for further questioning. Since nothing explosive was found on her, Vargas doubts she's a threat. Laura admits they bought fake passports in Casablanca. Vargas tells her that's a serious offense, and they could be deported back to France. He suspects they might be spies, but Laura insists they're just refugees using aliases that match their real identity. The inspector, still skeptical, says he'll have the documents reviewed. Trying to change their fate, Laura attempts to seduce Vargas, offering herself and money in exchange for their safety. She's later escorted by Magdalena to the cell where Boris is held. Laura doesn't realize Vargas took her lipstick, so she keeps searching for it. Jasmine later tells Vargas that Boris is carrying morphine. Vargas assures him he'll take care of the matter. Meanwhile, at a nearby hotel, Vargas's daughter Ilda reads the newspaper to her ill and mostly unresponsive mother, Marta. Curious, Ilda sneaks into her father's study and finds a photo of another woman. Confused, she quickly hides it when she hears him approaching. She greets her father and rushes to the kitchen, where housekeeper Delinda is preparing dinner. Ilda asks about her father, but Delinda says she doesn't know where he is and warns her that searching the annex is not allowed. As Ilda heads toward the annex anyway, Vargas stops her. Inside, she tells him that her mother seemed to recognize her earlier. This surprises him. Ilda then shares that after returning from school, she recited a French poem for her class and even performs it for her father. He believes it's too mature for her and says he'll talk to the nuns at school. Ilda pleads with him not to. That night, Vargas brings dinner to Marta. Ilda mentions the doctor said Marta's condition is improving. Later, Ilda peeks out her window and sees Vargas entering the annex. Curious, she inspects his coat and finds a woman's lipstick inside. What she doesn't know is that Laura has secretly been staying in that room. During a quiet evening, Vargas and Laura connect. He shares that during the war, a mortar strike wiped out his entire unit, and he survived by playing dead among the corpses. That experience led him to become a police officer. Laura reveals her family was on holiday in Midi when war broke out, and they've been stuck there ever since. Vargas assures her that visas to England will soon be arranged. After Vargas leaves, Boris, hiding in a closet, steps out and massages his sister's back, chuckling at the inspector's war story. Meanwhile, Ilda tells Delinda a Bible story about Lot's daughters getting pregnant by their father to preserve the family line. Disturbed, the maid assumes she's making it up, but Ilda insists it's scripture. That night, driven by unsettling emotions, Ilda removes her clothes and sleeps in her father's bed. Delinda finds her there the next morning and scolds her for missing school. Later that day, Ilda puts a flower behind her mother's ear. When Marta lightly taps the flower, it shows a spark of awareness. While retrieving the newspaper, Ilda sees Jasmine and Delinda alone together, then overhears Jasmine asking if Vargas brought home any French guests. Delinda nervously denies it, saying there haven't been visitors since Marta fell ill. Ilda then heads to her mother's room and turns on the radio. Later, she bluntly asks Delinda if she likes Jasmine, then questions whether the maid is allowed to sleep with her father. Offended, Delinda asks her to leave. That night, Vargas visits Ilda, tells her to sleep early, and reminds her to finish her book. When she asks for a kiss, she pulls him close. He quickly breaks away and tells her she's too old for that, which frustrates her. The next day, Delinda urges Ilda to hurry for school. That evening, Ilda sees her return from the annex and questions her about feeding a French woman. Delinda insists she was just cleaning the basement. Later that day, Ilda demands the key from Delinda and blocks her way. The housekeeper, terrified that Vargas will send her to the African prison camp if he finds out, begs Ilda not to take it, but Ilda grabs the key anyway. However, she hesitates when Delinda warns her that Vargas might be there as well. Curious, Ilda asks for the exact location of the woman's chamber, but Delinda refuses to reveal it. In retaliation, Ilda threatens to tell her father that the maid handed over the key unless she speaks up. Scared, Delinda finally admits that the French woman is staying in the last room next to the closet. That night, Ilda sneaks into the room with the key and finds Laura asleep. When she hears someone coming, she hides inside the closet. Through the crack in the door, she watches Boris enter and ask Laura for the morphine Vargas promised. Listening quietly, Ilda learns that Vargas had given Laura the hotel keys. Excited, Laura tells her brother they can leave any time. But instead of celebrating, Boris grows anxious. They could be caught and deported back to Poland. He believes they're safer staying put. Laura accuses him of wanting to stay because he gets free morphine. That offends Boris, so she apologizes and confesses that she's just tired of living like a prisoner. The next morning, Ilda wakes up on the floor and quietly slips out. Back at the hotel, she grabs Laura's photo and curls up beside her sick mother. She tells her that Vargas is having an affair with a French woman, who's probably her age. She begs her mom to get better. Their moment is cut short when Delinda walks in and scolds her for skipping school again, warning her that Vargas would be furious. Ilda coldly tells her to stay out of her personal life. Later, Ilda sneaks into her father's office to return Laura's photo. That's when she discovers something shocking. Her father has a fake passport under another name, along with a resignation letter from the police. Suddenly, everything clicks. Ilda realizes Vargas plans to leave them and run away with the French woman. Determined, she heads to the annex where she stumbles upon some eerie body sketches. Boris appears and asks who she is. Instead of answering, Ilda asks if he drew the images. He confirms he did. She admits she doesn't like them and wonders if they're based on real events, but he explains they're just from his imagination. Laura soon arrives, and Ilda confesses that she's Vargas's daughter, not a spy. She pleads with them to keep her visit a secret. When Laura asks what she wants, Ilda urges them to leave immediately. She lies, claiming Vargas might hurt them, but Laura doesn't believe her. She insists that Vargas would never do that. To convince them, Laura asks Ilda to read a newspaper article aloud in her room. The article details the horrors a woman suffered in a camp, losing her hair and sight. Laura notices the paper is communist. When she asks Ilda if she's a communist, the girl replies no. She explains that Vargas might send them to an African camp called Turl, which isn't just for communists. Laura insists they aren't political threats, but Ilda warns that doesn't matter. Realizing time is short, Ilda says she must return before her father arrives. Before leaving, she asks if they plan to go. Laura replies they aren't leaving just yet. Boris chuckles, but Laura looks worried. Sensing their hesitation, Ilda warns them again and reveals she found Vargas's fake passport and resignation letter. The siblings are stunned. Vargas had kept it all from them. Trying to calm herself, Laura says the fake passport might not mean anything, but Ilda warns her not to put too much trust in her father. After she leaves, Boris becomes more anxious. He fears they fled France only to end up caught again. Laura confesses she had no idea about Vargas's false identity. When Boris asks what they'll do if Vargas escapes with them, Laura is left speechless. Back at the hotel, Delinda finds Officer Jasmine waiting in the kitchen, which startles her. He pressures her to reveal where the refugees are, believing Vargas is hiding them. Before she can respond, Vargas enters and demands to know why Jasmine is there. The officer asks to speak privately, and Vargas escorts him to his office. Jasmine accuses Vargas of making the refugees vanish and hiding their documents. He doesn't care about the politics. He just wants his cut of the bribe money. Vargas denies everything, but Jasmine warns that he could end his career. He reveals he had someone secretly photograph the refugees' forged documents from the beginning. He gives Vargas 3 days to deliver his share, then storms out, unaware that Ilda overheard everything. Later that night, a worried Ilda curls up beside Delinda, who gently holds her. The next morning, Ilda panics when she discovers her mother missing from her room. She and Delinda search every corner of the hotel, but Marta is nowhere. Fearing the worst, Delinda urges her to tell Vargas, but Ilda suspects the French woman is involved and races to the annex. There, she finds Marta lying motionless in the grass. She cries out in fear. Hearing her screams, Boris and Laura rush out. Then, unexpectedly, Jasmine steps out and confesses that Vargas had been protecting the refugees all along. The officer thanks Ilda for calling him, thinking she was concerned about Vargas running off with Laura, but Delinda suddenly steps in, yells for the siblings to shut the door, and tries to protect them. When Jasmine demands the key, she says she doesn't have it. Enraged, he slaps her. That's when Ilda grabs a garden tool and strikes him repeatedly, killing him. Shaking and in tears, Ilda tells Delinda to leave immediately and take the refugees with her. Delinda agrees and takes them away. Ilda holds her mother's hand as they leave, mourning the loss. When Vargas returns, he is shocked to find Marta gone. After searching the hotel, he finally finds her lifeless body in the annex. Moments later, he sees his daughter standing near it. Ilda looks him in the eye and confesses she killed Jasmine and helped the refugees escape. Now, it's just the two of them left. End the movie. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other recaps and subscribe for more content. And leave comment below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.